Welcome back to Extrabyte. I'm so excited to introduce you to my new friend. Her name is Nancy. She is a research scientist who works at a very well-known university, and she studies nutrition and working with foods that I think you would be so interested in. And she's got an Instagram that is lovely. So thank you for joining me, Nancy.
Hi, thank you for introducing me.
No worries. I found your Instagram and it has so many delicious looking dishes. Now, what is your inspiration for creating them and putting them on the internet?
Oh, I really started cooking when I was a kid. I was like 5 years old when I started. Like, this is kind of crazy because I started writing recipes for people that I meet, like my mom's friends and people like that. And I would write recipes for them that I had never cooked in my life. I just liked the process of cooking for some reason. And then when I started reading, for some reason, I also started being passionate about my mom's cookbooks. And I started reading those cookbooks. So, like, they were comics for me.
Mm.
And I still now remember sometimes like page what recipe is, and I call my mom and I'm like, hey mom, can you tell me the recipe of that thing? Because I really want to make it. And I remember I read it when I was a kid. Isn't that crazy?
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, I really enjoy cooking since I was a kid. So I started doing it very early, which means that now I have a very, like, I practice a lot, like in amount of hours, I don't even know how much. And the inspiration is just the like wanting to eat in the end, because I like eating as well. So I like
Mhm.
being able to invent things and to be the source of my own happiness that comes from food, right? So I kind of like the day before I will think, oh, okay, this is what I have in the fridge. Let me think how I can match these things and make something new tomorrow. So I always try to make something completely new that I've never made, I've never seen anywhere. I've never, like, I invent my own recipes. So it's just that I want to try new things every day. That's probably my main source of inspiration, and I'm able to do that because I have a lot of practice.
I am just in awe of what you're telling me because all of the stuff that I've seen on your Instagram is so, I mean, it's photographed beautifully and it looks like you just need to eat it right then. So with all of that practice growing up as, a kid and with your mom's help and all that, I mean, I look at my fridge and I am not inspired to make something new. I'm like, I think I'll just order some takeout right now. But I love the fact that you can look at your fridge and go, this looks like, and just configure something. But I guess, I mean, you're a scientist, you probably get it in a different way than my brain thinks a little bit on the, at least when it comes to food. I'm like, just, put it in front of me and I'll partake. um, so I know that you talked about bringing out different things, and we talked about before we got on. We talked about recipes. We talked about a recipe for the matcha crepe that you had on your Instagram, and you said, "Oh well, I'll have to remember how I did that." So, all right, did you have a chance to kind of recreate it so that we can share it with the viewers? That would be awesome because I know that there are people who listen to the podcast and then people who get onto my blog and they're like, they want something fun and fresh to do. And when I saw that picture, I was like, my husband is French, number one. So I've seen crepes. Yeah, I've seen, the Nutella and the banana crepe and and then all of the hearty ones. And I was like, I have not seen this one. So I was super intrigued. So I'm glad that you're able to share the recipe with our viewers and listeners because I think that that's something that would be super special for this holiday. What are your plans for the holiday?
For the holidays, I'm probably gonna spend it with, because of quarantine and COVID, with just like one friend. We're very close. We spend our whole time together. So in the end, it's not gonna be a big social interaction with anyone. And probably cooking a menu as usual, like 4 or 5 courses for 2 people, because why not? Because it's also like so these celebrations are kind of a chance for me to experiment and try new things, or like cook things I don't usually make. So I kind of just like it, even if it's just for myself, yeah, the matcha green tea things was amazing. It was very good, and it requires a ton of crepes, but it's very good in the end. And it's kind of simple because in the end you just make the crepes and the whipping cream, and then you put that what was it? I think it was white chocolate and butter that I put on top of it. Oh, that was amazing. That was my touch. I loved it. But yeah, that was kind of easy to make. It's just three things, just like whipping cream, just with it. But it was amazing.
Now I know you say it's easy to make. Now I have messed up so many things. So I will get my husband to help me with this because he knows how to make crepes. But when I saw it, it's like layers upon layers upon layers upon like it looks like 20 or layers of crepes going
A
on.
lot more. Well, Mille Crêpes, which means 1,000 crepes, is not 1,000, but definitely at least 50. Yeah.
So how long does that take?
That took a while, like, because in the end, you cannot make more than one crepe per time. So that takes a while just because you have to, repeat over and over the same thing. But that's what I'm saying, that it's not that difficult because once you made one crepe, then you get better. You have a chance to actually get better after each one. And I don't know, probably a couple hours.
Well,
Yeah,
so you mentioned
couple hours.
making kind of using the holidays as a chance to experiment. So, what is on the brain for your holiday experiment this year?
I haven't thought of anything yet. Probably, so my mom just shipped me a box of food basically from Italy, which contains a lot of things that are typical for my region. So I'm gonna probably use some of those salami and ham and like cheese and things she sent me, which are something special. She also sent me our olive oils and olives. Like she seasoned our own olives. They're amazing, and it's something you have to kind of eat uh, kind of quickly, like, so I have to use them in the next 20 days. So that is gonna be like the main kind of appetizer, with like ham, cheese, and salami and things, but like very flavorful things from my region that are like the flavors you miss when you are far away from home. Because I'm Italian, by the way, just for in case it wasn't obvious. And probably I'm gonna make a risotto, and I want to try. So I have this special dessert that a friend of mine brought to me, which is kind of a pandoro from Italy or something. It's very good, and that is usually the typical dessert that you
Uh-huh.
use Christmas and holidays. Like we don't usually make our own dessert, but if I have to, I will make some special flavor tiramisu, like different, because I like things. So it's like a tiramisu, but instead of coffee, I usually put fruit or maybe oranges this year. Because I kind of want to mix something with oranges. So probably a cake, kind of mm, a chocolate cake with orange flavors, or tiramisu with chocolate and orange, stuff like that.
Mm, everything that you're talking about sounds delicious. So, if you want to find all of her pictures of all of the stuff that she's made, you can go to her Instagram page. So, well, tell everybody how they can find you on Instagram.
So my page is called Labriosa Food. And so it's kind of a nickname. It's not my actual name because my name is Nancy, but Labriosa in Italian means sparkling, kind of. It's kind of like a happy person. And this is the name my roommates used to give me when I was in college. So it kind of became my nickname now. So yeah, Labriosa Food.
Nice. And so, one of the things that, oh, go ahead.
Come visit my page.
Come visit her page, exactly. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about that you do is you try to use that nutrition background that you have to make food in a healthy way. So when you're looking at her Instagram photos and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I am going to use so many calories or I'm going to have a heart attack, by eating all these amazing foods, they're made specially. So tell people what kind of differences that you do when you make these delicious meals.
So definitely in this case, my Italian background helps a lot because we have, Mediterranean cuisine in general is kind of a healthier version because we use mostly non-processed ingredients. So I rarely use toppings and sauces and stuff like that, like you don't even know how many ingredients there are in it. So I usually use like raw like veggies, like very basic ingredients, and then I mix them up as I like, and I use a lot of herbs and spices to make them tasteful instead of using other things like ketchup and mayo and dressings and things that in the end are very fat. They add a lot of calories to your food. You don't even know what's in it, and you don't have control over what the fuel you're putting into your body. So the main trick is actually using basic, very simple, non-processed ingredients, and then mix them up as you like. And that is the first thing. And then second is to use simple seasoning, which is like black pepper, red pepper, paprika, these kind of things, like simple spices, that the ingredients they're made of. Um, and herbs, a lot of herbs. I always use rosemary and thyme and sage, and these are like the basics, but you can really use anything depending on your culture. Based on different cultures, people use different sort of spices, and some, like for example, Indian cuisine is a lot spicy, right? Some other cuisines don't have a lot of spices, but anyways, uh, so if you use these tricks already, that's enough for you to not like use a lot of olive oil instead of butter, for example. Like that's like using healthy things that are good for you, like exactly like olive oil, for example, because it has calories. It has probably even more calories than dressing sometimes, but it contains a lot of good things for your body, like omega-3 and antioxidants, and also another suggestion that I always give to people is to try to eat the rainbow, to eat things that are have different colors, because different colors means different vitamins, different minerals, different sort of nutrients. So those are the main things I do. But also I practice, because I work on nutrition and I work on also things like fasting, intermittent fasting, and time restricted eating. So a lot of different sort of ways of changing how you eat, not just what you eat and at what time you do it. So what I do also is to kind of plan to have most of my calories early during the day and like a lunch. And I don't really eat much at dinner. And I try to not eat past like 8 p.m., for example, like avoiding sweets. And I do have cheating days, like the weekend, like everybody else. And these for me are not dieting days, because I always eat very good things. It's just that they're healthy but very tasteful. And I do have cheating days during the weekend, which just means I just eat whatever I like, and I don't really care about calories. Like I don't really care about that. But if you do it in a right way, once a week, twice a week, that's fine. Like that's part of the motivation that you need to get like ahead of the week every time.
I feel that exactly. I am post second baby and I am in that whole you have to flip your mindset a little bit. I think when it comes to making a schedule for yourself and really choosing the better option, I think is the other part of it. So I think you have great tips. So for the matcha crepe, make sure to take a look at that recipe and try it. Just do the work because it's going to take a few hours. But if you look at the picture, oh my gosh, it looks so lovely. So check out her Instagram. And she says it's good, so I believe her. And check out our Instagram, and definitely make sure to make your meal inclusive, because that's the one part that I always find in the holidays is that if you share it, it always tastes better for some reason.
So true.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a fabulous holiday.
Do, and everyone else too.
Thank you.
Bye.